On Sunday, October 9, 2022, Sebastian Apram stepped out of his house to meet a friend who was visiting him. But the police met him.
We are policemen. Don't struggle with us. Okay. You want to see my ID card?
No.
All right.
We are police.
So let me go.
Okay, wait. No, stop.
Master, don't let us force you.
Wait, I'm coming. Let me put. I'm doing something. Let me go and do my.
You are doing something.
Yes. Let me go and lock my.
All right. We'll let you go and lock it.
Yes.
Oh, no problem.
I'm not struggling. You just
put your hands inside.
Wait. So let me go.
Put your hand inside.
Oh, wait, let me go and.
Wait. Don't struggle with that.
Sebastian is a member of a network that has undermined Ghana's computer school selection and placement system. His cover was blown after months of investigations by the Fourth Estate.
What's my end?
Okay, I'm just going to say 3 days or something. Okay, no, this was the same for
Me.
The computerized system of placing candidates into senior high schools was introduced in 2005 by the Ministry of Education to eliminate corruption in the placement process.
Our goal is to make sure that there's fairness here, and then those who are eligible for entry into our schools, especially the category A schools, getting on by merit.
But the reason why reporting in CSSPS was because many headmasters have become corrupt. It was a gold mine, gold season for admissions, and we wanted to end that system and bring in a much more meritorious system, much more equitable system that all citizens could trust.
17 years after its introduction, corruption continues to erode the integrity of the system. In 2022, the Fourth Estate went undercover to ascertain whether, indeed, cash can influence the placement of candidates into top-grade senior high schools. The Ministry of Education set up a resolution center at the Nat Hall complex to resolve complaints regarding the computerized school placement system. When the Fourth Estate visited the center, desperate parents were found negotiating and seeking help on the placement of their wards. In that building was a network of security men and cleaners who served as liaisons between the desperate parent and officials of the CSSPS. The Fourth Estate reporter who went undercover met Eric Agri, a cleaner. He indicated he could help change a placement from Apam Senior High School to Mfantiman Senior High School at a fee.
Big school and big school, and yet better says the amounts I will about it. Still with me and from a pound
But in less than 24 hours, Eric increased the amount from 7,000 to 7,500 Ghana cedis and would not reduce it.
We said if I'm not say 85.
And look at tea, and that tea, Mammy, and oh, there be Mammy tea, or can say 7, or tea, or can say 7, Namasimico first canaba, and then the mediaba tea, or can say 7, Namasimico first canaba, and to me this canaba. This canaba.
Eric and Rachel Aite, another member of the syndicate, could not do the placement from Apam Senior High School to Mfantiman because the candidate had enrolled in the school. We presented another candidate who had been placed in Wesley Girls in Accra and wanted a higher grade school, Agri Memorial Zion Senior High School in Cape Coast. Eric demanded 8,500 Ghana cedis for that slot. After demanding and receiving payments, The syndicates changed the placements of the candidate from Accra Girls Wesley to Agri Memorial Zion Senior High School in 2 days.
Why are they? He did this with support from another member of the syndicate introduced as Nathaniel. Our investigation later revealed that he is Simon Agri, the brother of Eric Agri.
Yes, government has expanded facilities. Government has invested hugely in expanding facilities. But I'm not sure government has doubled intake in the everyday schools. And that is where there's pressure. So it was expected that as there won't be any more double track, there will be enhanced competition. And that is where, if that competition is not managed well, then it becomes explosive, and then you have corruption tendencies creeping in.
Every parent wants the best for their children, and consequently, sometimes they panic even before the placement comes out, and then they fall prey to these unsuspecting individuals who will promise that they will be able to send their children to the schools of their choice.
Mimisha will be say on to Nibu or still Wesley no pay. Until now, I feel no school 20K.
Rachel seems to be the most trusted member of the syndicate whom everyone recommends. It was believed that she never failed to place her students once the money she demanded was paid. Throughout her investigations, she was communicating with other members of the syndicate whom she claimed were staff at the Ministry of Education. She constantly received and forwarded messages of available schools and slots to Eric and other frontline team members at the placement center. In one of our meetings, Eric received a list of schools with slots for paid placement.
Rachel, sorry, we phone you. We tell me to me out for it. I don't want me for Yamos. Also, before I said a boy, I just me I really not a 2 women. And one other quite a bit delayed. But me, I'm telling you the truth. A bit delayed because and then I won't get until you didn't cover me. Sir, I want to be so bad. I'm also trying. So I need to go and point where I said me free. So for that one, yeah, I'm sure. Because me, I do go away a crowd. Maybe screaming on me, I'm sure. I'm selling these available. St. Louis, Kukuwari, Accra Academy, Accra Girls, Accra Senior High, Siawa KCC Girls, Kumasi High, Prempeh College, T.I. Amidia Senior Kumasi, Yasantua, Rekum Presby Senior High, St. James Abesim, then Infantimine, St. Augustine's, Wesley Girls, Infantimine Girls, the Crackmine, the Bree Girls, St. Roses. Schools are available. Yes, schools, ones big schools in there.
So those 10 things, it's a number, spaces now available.
Ones there, for you penny, if you have 23 males, female 29. So there's a space there, but they are dealing with money.
In some cases, when one was unable to pay, the slots were sold to others who could afford to pay higher. In one instance, we could not get into Wesley Girls High School because we could not afford it. At the placement center, almost every security or staff there knew about Eric's network and could easily direct you to him for paid placement.
Okay. If you know what amount now, okay. Now we need you know what obey or you to pay or opportunity never not to bet me into it now. Mother is only can in double near only or never now. on the why I know so about what check is in the crack. Change the number.
Okay. It was for this reason that the second reporter from the Fourth Estate was directed to Eric. He wanted a candidate placed in Presbyterian Senior High Technical School to Archbishop Porter Girls, Takrady. Eric requested 7,000 Ghana cedis. When we offered 5,000 cedis, he declined and returned the money. He was not taking a peso less than 7,000 Ghana cedis.
Because you know something, make I tell you the truth. If I take you, you tell me make I take you make ready. So you hold on. I know if you keep money, because me, if I say make I take you, unless I sleep, let me try to chop or me Jimmy. Me boil it rough. We boil it. Or we ain't sorrow for those who don't know. The one person is coming. You know this.
Wow.
You know good.
Only customer man. Let's say 5,000. No, I'm the amount was 5,000.
What do you need 5 or mommy have 7? Only that's good. You do it.
We requested another placement to be done. The person was originally placed at Presbyterian Senior High School, Ibri, but we requested Wesley Girls Senior High School. Eric demanded 11,000 Ghana cedis and took the money. Eric.
I think Wesley, your mama too, but you penalty 110 last.
Ready 110. I asked them into Wesley, no.
You call them mama dump or no, I'm on the pressure on their phone, so be to me.
Driving. 11,000. When the placement delayed and we pestered Eric, he finally led us to Rachel.
School in Pacho, open find mine.
In fact, can you please, I'm going to leave Diana because you turned 11,000 to wait for you.
11,000 for West Indies. Come out the West Indies buy. That was near you. And I woke up boy then.
One day, you are that's not the one day.
Oh, Daddy, when on the Apostle. And you know, you tell you are then last day, but all said, we mono debut. Next year, Prasado, you know, come in yet you. Oh, me yet you move. You can't born a one to me the media better so. Me yet you. I'm not just coming forward here, but send my attitude. Same crime my attitude if it's asked how you. Eh? Let's start it placement, not 8,000 you're done in phone. So scanning in our ship. Ade.
Yes.
Patriana.
Yeah.
Hey, Radi Yesu. And I want to send him evidence. Would you, Mati? Make a question. Sir, Mati, thank you. Make a question. They eventually placed the candidates in Infantiman, a Category A school. With 8,500 cedis, the CSSPS was undermined as placements was changed from Accra Wesley Girls to Agri Memorial Zion School, Cape Coast, and with 11,000 Ghana cedis,
Placement was changed from Presbyterian Senior High Technical School, Ebri, to Infantiman Girls Senior High School. The most sought-after Category A schools, such as Wesley Girls at the time of our investigation, were going for as high as 20,000 Ghana cedis. According to the Education Minister, the protocol list is what some unscrupulous people sell to those who won the awards placed in high category schools.
I believe that people take advantage of that. For example, headmasters' protocols. We don't question where those children are coming from. All that we do is approve it when they upload it on their portal, protocol portal, and we upload. So the bottom line is that some people may want to take advantage of a system that is supposed to support old boys, support, for the most part, church leaders and the headmaster and even employees who work at the various schools so that their children can go to school there. And they want to take advantage of the system. Dr.
George Atabuating says the protocol system used to be a 30% quota for communities within the catchment area of the school.
We used to have 30% catchment area allocation. Schools within a 16-kilometer radius or 10-mile radius from that school can always, opt for the 30%. That is, they don't want to go to school in any part of the country.
That system has now been changed. The protocol system of placing candidates is now 10%, which is shared equally between the Ministry of Education and the schools.
At the ministry level, you also have employees, you have other people who are important stakeholders. We have sometimes people who have built schools for various communities that we know of who have contributed substantially to education, and they come. And when they come, and you will not even believe that many times we end up supporting the old students of the various schools because the protocols that may go to a school like Presec, where old boys have been so supportive, may be such that the headmistress or headmaster cannot support, and the ministry has to step in and work with the school to make sure that those important stakeholders also have opportunity to send their children to those schools, and they support the schools a lot.
This means people like Rachel, who are able to place students, either have links to the ministry or the schools. We could not get evidence of her links to the schools, but we established she had links to the Ministry of Education. She was in charge of the canteen at the Ministry of Education until the canteen was shut down for refurbishment. Our sources at the Ministry of Education also say Rachel constantly called some of them asking for placement vacancies. Whatever her source of vacancy was, only 2 persons had the passwords for placement into Category A schools.
In reality, we have 2. One, Director General's Office, GS, and then Ministry of Education. Last year, those are the 2 places.
Though the minister said GS Director General's Office and the Education Ministry had access to Category A schools, our checks revealed that full access to such protocol placements was limited to only 2 individuals. A memo that was circulated within the Ministry of Education on the 2022 placement shows that only the Director General of the GES, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa, and the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Edichum, had full access to the most sought-after Category A schools. This means the placements made by Rachel into Infantiman Girls had to be approved by either the Minister or the GES Director General. During the 2022 placement process, Professor Opoku-Amankwa, who was unhappy about corruption in the placements, wrote to the National Intelligence Bureau and the Criminal Investigations Departments of the Ghana Police Service to investigate allegations of corruption in the placement process. Part of his letter to the 2 state security agencies reads,
"In some instances, fingers have been pointed at top officials of the Ministry of Education, Ghana Education Service, Computerized School Selection and Placement System, and the Free SHS Secretariat. Management of Ghana Education Service will be grateful if your office could launch a full-scale investigation into these allegations to establish their authenticity or otherwise.
The Fourth Estate understands that the NIB initially agreed and started investigation, but exactly 1 month later, it wrote to the GES asking, "You may redirect your request to the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service for the necessary action." The GES had already petitioned the police CID the same day it wrote to the NIB. The Fourth Estate sources say these investigations were stopped by powers from above. Dr. Opoku Amankwa could not pursue this matter to the end. He was removed from office that same year.
Last year we heard that the GES petitioned I think the BNI or NIB and CID to investigate these matters. I don't know whether you've had any feedback on it, whether or not they did the work.
I know the law enforcement has been on this. Anytime that they get complaints, they work on it to make sure that where there's evidence, they follow through and they track those people who are involved in this. I mean, since I've been here, a number of people have been arrested when allegations are made, and if it's proven, they take them through their processes. I don't have the data in terms of those who have been prosecuted and probably jailed as a result of complaints from parents or from the ministry. But I know that the law enforcement take this issue seriously.
The NIB responded first. They brought a gentleman and his team, Francis, to start investigations on the system. But somewhere along the line, they pulled out of the investigation. And then exactly a month after my letter, they wrote to me, they sent me a note to indicate that I should rather refer the issue to CID. About 2 weeks after I received that letter, that was 5th May, the CID also came in with a team to start the investigation. They did their entry interview with me, and that was where it ended.
When the Fourth Estate concluded our investigations and wanted the police involved in arresting the perpetrators, the CID headquarters agreed to work with us. A team from the Financial Forensic Unit was assigned to work with us, but there was a sudden withdrawal of the team, and we were directed to report the matter to the ministry's police station. The Fourth Estate involved the police to pick up the suspect. Eric was arrested in Rachel's house. Without being asked any questions, Rachel volunteered to give out more details on their operations. She mentioned Isaac Mensah, a security man in a basic school across her house who was involved in the deal. The police arrested Isaac, who also mentioned Sebastian Apram as the one he was dealing with. Isaac led us to Sebastian. On Friday, October 28, 2022, another member of the syndicate, Gilbert Efriye Nkrumah, a staff of the Fisheries Commission, was arrested. 3 other members have been arrested: Bernard Kusi Ajiman, an operations manager with the logistics company; Eugenia Abigail Ahiable, an administrator; and Daniel Opoku, a foreman. Daniel Opoku also named twin brothers Atakufor Sr., a lab technician, and Atakufor Jr., an IT expert, as the ones who finally effected the placement to Infantiman. The twins were already on the run for a similar offense.
If we are resorting to use the aggregates instead of the raw scores, then to me it makes no sense to have a computerized system. It should be given back to the heads of SHS.
I believe that one of the ways that we can ensure that the school placement system has confidence and earns the trust of parents. So much so that parents are not even minded to go and try and pay their way through and get placements that they don't deserve, is by shining light on the operations of the computerized school placement selection.
I will say that as Minister for Education, I support the efforts that you are making, bringing publicity to this canker. We want to fight it, we want to eliminate it, and the public, we need your support.
No, Bomizi.
In all, the police have arrested 8 people in connection with the school placement fraud uncovered by the 4th Estates. None of them is from the Education Ministry, GES, or the Free SHS Secretariat as mentioned in Professor Poku Amankwah's letters to the CID and NIB. It is also evident that Rachel could not have placed a student into Infantiman Girls without the approval of the Minister of Education or the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, the only 2 individuals with passwords to Category A schools.
If only 2 people have access to Category A schools, you're able to tell who did the placement for a certain student. So if these allegations come up saying that, oh, a parent have paid money and this student have found himself at this school, you go to the system and IT people are able to tell which of the 2 people did the placement. So it becomes much easier than a situation where you have 100 people with IDs and it takes you so long to determine who did the placement for this person. So that is why access to Category A is very restricted.
2021, initially I had access, but later my access was taken for a period to ensure that some updates were done. And when it was restored, some of these opportunities were taken out. For 2022, I only had access to the back end and the opportunity to do changes and to see whatever is going on in the system for just about the first week of the placement. Subsequently, my access was blocked.
Any request for approval, for example, from schools for Category A, you know who approved that protocol request when it came from the schools that are in the Category A band. And you know those are the areas where people are scamming parents because those are the most desirable schools in the country.
If there's fraud in the matter, then myself as Director General and the Minister should take the responsibility. I fully accept that and I fully agree. But that is also the reason why I knew that I'm part of it. I took measures to ensure that the issues relating to corruption and the place on the payment of monies and things like that have been dealt with. And I wrote to the CID and then the PNI.
If you're a staff here, you get yourself involved in this, you know you are not going to be working here any longer.
How the names of students got to the Education Minister or the GS Director General for placement into Category A schools is easy to find according to the Minister's explanation. It is, however, not clear if the police will follow this case to the top, since there is evidence that the top hierarchy of the security agencies failed to investigate the matter when the GS Director General requested investigation. Ajwa Adubia Owusu and Evans Aziamo Mensah's reports for the 4th Estates.